Mike Dell's World, number 330 for November 3rd, 2019, and it's the third day of NaPodPoMo, our National Podcast Posting Month.
Some people say that under that hat, Mike Dell has a chip in his head. Unfortunately, it's a Dorito.
And as usual, thanks, Mark, for that comment. Anyway, so, it's day 3, Sunday, November 3rd. And I made a little adjustment here on the microphone just to see if it doesn't sound as cut off as it did on yesterday's show. I turned off what's known in the industry as the big bottom. I think I have a deep enough voice and this microphone's deep enough. I don't need to add to it electronically. The whole goal of me recording podcasts generally is to make it sound as close to you and I having a conversation across the table or on the couch or something, and not, have that big radio sound. I don't mind it sounding decent, and a little bit of professional sound is fine. But, my goal is always to, make it as natural as possible. And so hopefully I'm accomplishing that. Hopefully you're not hearing too much of the heater going in the background. Again, it's a nice cool day here in Traverse City, and I'm down here in the swampy basement. I did make my mind up that this spring I am going to move my office yet again. I know we talked about that. I moved upstairs for a little while we remodeled the basement. Then I moved back down here. Problem is, down here, the flooding problem, and it's because Lake Michigan's lake level is up at record highs right now, which brought our water table up to record highs. And, it goes in cycles, but this is definitely a high cycle. So, you know what? I'm going to just leave it as is. I'm going to work this basement up again, after the water level goes down, and not a lot of damage or anything. It's swampy. It's not healthy. And so what I'm going to do is build a box in the garage. Not really a box. I'm going to take a little over 1/4 of the garage, half of one stall, which will still be about 100 square feet, same as my office here in the basement. And I'm going to make that into an office in the garage. And it'll have air and it'll have its own heat. Oh, there goes cutting off a little bit again. I don't know. Maybe this noise gate's just a little too tight. I'll have to figure out how to adjust that here on the Roadcaster. But anyway, this isn't a podcast about podcasting. So anyway, my office is going to move. Probably start working on it this winter. I can do the framing at least, and maybe put insulation in and do the outer shell. I'm just going to do the outer shell with OSB board, nothing fancy. And, all that stuff that doesn't require adhesives, drying and paint and all that stuff. And maybe even get some wiring done. It all depends on what the weather's like and all that. And, once I get the basic box done, I can actually put in a heater and do some of the interior as well. Can't really mud drywall or paint or anything like that, but should be able to slowly but surely over the winter build this thing, get it all done so that in the spring I'll be able to move out there. And, as a bonus, I'll have a little bit quieter place to do podcasting. I'll have, a dog-free area too, so, the dogs can stay in the house or in the yard and won't hear them as much. And it'll just be a nicer situation. Yeah, the commute's going to be a little longer. Okay, I'll have to walk out the back door, down the sidewalk, and into the garage door. And then I'm going to put an exterior door in the office wall there. And it's got a nice window overlooking the neighbors. Not that it's a great view, but at least it'll be a little natural light. But I'll be able to soundproof it more and be a little more secure as far as, away from the rest of the house and all that. The only disadvantage is, it's not right in the house. So I will have to actually go outside, and even in the winter, so won't be bad. But that's the plan. Sometime over the winter, I'll be building the box. I'm not, a carpenter by any stretch, so I'm going to have to employ some assistance, at least designing and how to. I could drive a nail and all that, and cut a board, whatever. That's not the hard part. And then, of course, drywalling. I'll probably panel the ceiling, I'm guessing, just because it's easier. But I'd like to do drywall so I can actually paint and, make it look like a regular office on the inside. And I'll insulate it quite well. I figure one of those little Eden Pure electrics heaters will suffice. I run one down here because there is a furnace down here, obviously, but heat rises. So it stays quite cool down here if I don't run a little heat. And I'll just get one of those window box air conditioners, and I'll probably cut it through the wall, though, instead of taking up the window with it. Or I'll put in just another window just for the air conditioning. We'll see. But that might require a little more structure, because putting in a standard window in that garage might be a little interesting. So, and it might not fit an air conditioner properly. So we'll see. But that's the plan as it stands right now. So Mike Dell's World Studio will move about 30 yards south of here. So instead of being 500 yards from Lake Michigan, I'll be 530 yards from Lake Michigan. And about 8 feet higher in elevation. So that'll keep me out of the water table, we hope. Of course, if it gets that high, then I got a whole bunch of other problems. So with that, we'll call this a podcast for November 3rd, 2019, National Podcast Posting Month. And we'll catch you tomorrow.